Start it.
Yes, I started it. We're live.
Hey, everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. This is the Ask Junior portion of the show. Thanks for supporting our YouTube channel and tuning in. You guys are the hardcore supporters of the podcast. And, this is my favorite part of the show. We get to talk to our listeners and see what's on their minds. So, Leah, you got the questions they've sent in to Xfinity Racing on Twitter all week, so let's have them.
Yeah, our first question's coming from James Daly. What are your feelings on NASCAR testing the rain tires at Martinsville, and do you think we'll see a day when we run rain tires at mile-and-a-half tracks?
For a second, I was, excited, and then, I'd heard that they were going to do this, and I was like, that's great. They must it must be some rain in the forecast or whatever. And then I saw they were hosing the track down on the front straightaway, and they showed some cars coming down. They didn't show them through the turn. I haven't seen any footage. Maybe it did get on social media, and there was some stuff out there. But the only thing I saw was a car going down the front straightaway on a wet, damp track that had been wet with a water truck. And I thought, man, it is April Fool's Day. Maybe this is all a big joke. So I'm still apprehensive. I wish someone would explain the technology to me, because I feel like that we should have been racing on. I feel like that we should already have this incorporated into the sport, racing in the rain on ovals. And the reason why I don't know why we aren't doing this. Drivers love high horsepower, low downforce. Well, if you get to wet racetrack, you basically have too much power and no grip, right? So that's kind of what drivers want, is the more challenging condition, and a wet or damp track would provide that. You definitely have to worry about your tires and taking care of them, which is another thing drivers enjoy, because they think all drivers feel like they're the best at managing tires, and any kind of tire degradation is going to set them apart from everyone else, because they will do it better than anyone else. And the tracks have banking, right? So the water will continue to run off the banking, right? And at a bank track, there's not going to be standing water. All right, so I don't know why we haven't tried to cross this bridge, but till now. We had I'm happy. I'm open to being told why this has not happened already, and what the problems are and the hurdles that I don't see. All right, so if somebody knows them, I'm all ears. But for me, it seems like it's something we should already be doing. And, if you got a damp track, a little rain, a little mist or whatever, bolt these tires on, the wet tires, and let them go. It's my understanding that, we have the most elite drivers we have the most elite stock car drivers in the country, in the world. We have the best strategists in the world, the best engineers, crew chiefs. They will figure this out. You give them a good tire, you give them reasonable conditions, not a monsoon, and they'll figure it out. They'll learn how to slow down. They'll learn how to find grip and run fast and win races, and it'll be entertaining. So I would trust, the process and let it play itself out. If I was running the sport, we'd be racing in the rain a long time ago, because I'd be like, yeah, throw them out there. Let them figure it out. Let's all watch. This will be great. Right? But there must be some really good reasons why that hasn't happened, but I just hadn't heard them.
All right, our next question coming from Alex Simpson. What are your thoughts about F1 driver Daniel Ricciardo getting a chance to drive Dale Sr.'s 1984 Camaro if he gets a podium? I saw you tweeted about this.
Yeah, so Daniel drives for McLaren, and the boss of McLaren, he owns this collection, and actually he at one time owned the Nova. Zach did, yeah, and so but he thinks my dad is a legend. I love that. He owns one of the Blue Goose, I guess is what they called it. Whatever that 1984 Wrangler car that Dad drove for Richard Childress. It originally, I think Ricky Rudd raced it when he raced for Richard Childress, and they reskinned it, and Dad won a few races in it. So I think it's a legit car. And Daniel's a big Dale Earnhardt fan as well. And so if he gets a podium, the next podium he gets when it happens, he gets to test this car. And I'll be anxious to see what kind of test it is, right? I have this Nova, and I took it to Charlotte, and I imagine maybe I went around 90 to 100. And that was fast enough. With everything that we've done to this car and the fact that there's not a lot of replacement parts and this and that and other, I didn't want to have a problem and crash it. And it was hard for me to go any faster, even though I wanted to, and I don't have the proper tires or anything. So what will he be able to do with this car? Well, because it's, the owner will want it to go one speed, and the guy testing it will want to go another speed. Will they have come to an agreement on just how hard he'll be able to go?
Our next question coming from William Bennett. Have you tried using VR in iRacing yet?
Yeah, I tried it several years ago with the original Oculus, and tried it again just recently with the HP headset, and to see if the technology had improved, and it just isn't where it needs to be. For people that are into iRacing and VR or into that type of technology, like the clarity, as far as the visual clarity, is the size of a dime, and anywhere outside of that is the clarity's not there. It's just technology is not where it should be. It's so much more enjoyable in triple screen. Plus, you can look around the room. You don't have to take a headset off to do that, and using your phone if you get a text or have to make a call. The headset really makes it all that very difficult. But when the technology gets there, I'm down. I am down for a VR experience in iRacing, but the clarity just isn't there from in the full field of view.
Mark Haynes wants to know if the Comet pinball machine works.
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I guess we could turn it on. Not right this second, Matthew. So the pinball machine, Dad had that same style of pinball machine in the basement of the house in when I moved there in 1981. So this is a Comet pinball machine. It's a roller coaster, sort of an amusement park style or amusement park theme, and it's a lot of fun to play. And I found one, but I remember Dad had that same machine in the basement of the house, and he played it every night. And he had a barber's chair that sat in front of it, and he'd sit in the barber's chair and play. Oh, man, I mean, he was always trying to beat his high score. And he played it a ton. I just remember that thing sitting there, and no one else got to play. But so I wanted to have the same pinball machine because I knew that was one of Dad's favorite things. He didn't have many hobbies outside of racing, aside from deer hunting, but he played that pinball machine a lot.
Aaron Schott says, recently Tony Stewart has been posting a helmet from his collection and telling a story about it. Do you have a helmet collection from your past or maybe other drivers' helmets?
I have a couple. Me and Jimmy swapped helmets. I think I got a Rusty Wallace helmet from his career. I've got a few. I was actually a collector of football helmets, or still am, I guess, because I don't have every one. I collect helmets from the NFL and college, and I've got about 22 NFL helmets and or 22 different teams, and I think I've got about 65 college helmets. So pretty nice little collection, just all types. And I was getting them. You go to a race and a track promoter or somebody at the track would have you one. Here, local college team. They knew I would collect them, and so I've gathered up a few. Pretty fun.
Jared Lyons is watching live on YouTube, and he says, with Kentucky taking off this year's schedule and having lackluster racing in the past, what are your thoughts on potentially tearing up the track to make it a short track like Auto Club is doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I don't know what happens to Kentucky. I really don't. Mike?
I don't know about Kentucky,
thought
but you
you
know
were
what that?
getting ready to-
Well, you know what that reminds me of. What we haven't talked about. So I'm going to throw an Ask Junior question: is what do we get? What do we make of Marcus Smith and Marcus
Yes.
Lemonis's conversation about Wilkesboro?
Yeah. I don't, I think that I don't know what they can do to Kentucky, and I don't see them tearing that track apart to make another track. I just don't see that happening. I don't know what happens to that track, and it's a shame that we built something in a market and it's not surviving. I wasn't a huge fan of the configuration, the banking, the transitions. Nothing about Kentucky to me was fun. But so yeah, if they were going to keep racing on that property, I would absolutely hope that they would change the track in some way. And we definitely need more short tracks. But yeah, so Michael, you bring up a great point about a conversation that Marcus and Marcus had on Twitter about North Wilkesboro. We'll just have to wait to see what they're talking about and what their phone conversation produced. But I haven't talked to Marcus Smith much about it. He said that there's the guy's got some great ideas, and we'll just have to see. Marcus has told us that he's always open to doing something with North Wilkesboro. It's not a closed door. He wants to figure out a purpose for the property, and maybe they'll find one between them.
All right, one more question coming from Josh. Dale, whatever happened to the guitar you gave to Dave Grohl? And have you listened to the new Foo Fighters album?
I haven't listened to the new Foo Fighters album, but I will. But you can't not. Foo Fighters comes out with a new album. You can't not listen to it. Huge Foo Fighters fan, big fan of Nirvana. When I don't know why I did that, but when I actually sent that guitar to Dave, and before Dad passed away, I think I sent it to him in 2000, and I don't even know how I got. How do you send a guitar to Dave Grohl, right? I have no clue. I don't know who found. I don't know what you weren't around then yet, Mike. But I gave the guitar and I said, "See if this would be something." I love Dave Grohl, right? Drummer from. I love drumming. He's a drummer of my favorite band, Nirvana. He moved on to the Foo Fighters, created this great band there. I just thought the guy was great, and I had a guitar that Gibson made with the bud and all that stuff on it, and I thought, man, I wonder if he'd like this. So I sent it. I had somebody see if they could send it to him. In my mind, it was probably never going to get to him. It was going to probably just not find him and end up somewhere else, right? And I didn't even know. I never got any notice that he received the guitar. All right, and so Dad passed away at Daytona, and I don't know how long after that, but like a couple weeks or a month later, I found a photo on the internet of him playing it, and apparently he played the guitar at a show the next day, or the next few days after Dad passed away in Daytona. He played the Hard Rock in L.A., or he played somewhere on the West Coast, and he played the guitar. And here's a picture of him playing it. And I was like, wow, he has it, right? And then he was cool enough to play it, and with everything that was going on in my life, losing Dad and all that. So, he called and left a message on my cell phone.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
And I actually went to a Foo Fighters show probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and I walked up to him and said, hey, we had never talked. And I was like, you called my phone, that was cool, and you played that guitar. And he's like, man, I still got the thing, the it's falling apart, but I still have it. He said, I played it a lot. So, yeah, it's really neat. I gave one to the lead singer of Chevelle, too. I was a big Chevelle fan, and I brought one to, I went to see them play at Charlotte, and I hand-delivered it to him. I think that's the only 2 people I actually gave that guitar to. I mean, I wasn't around. I wasn't running around going, you get a guitar. You get a guitar. Just a couple.
It sounds like they probably stopped giving them to you because you just keep giving them away.
Just give them away. I didn't know how to play them. All right. Pretty good questions. That's some great memories to think about, and appreciate it again. All the support for the podcast and all of our social media handles. Tell your friends to follow us and give us a look. We got a lot of great clips on our YouTube handle, and obviously the podcast. You can steer them toward that to check us out. And the TV show. Do we got one this week? Yes, the Dale Jr. Download is on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN Thursday. And our guest this week is Dick Berggren. So Dick he was a racer. He was responsible for Stock Car Racing Magazine, one of my favorite publications. Pit reporter for NASCAR for years. He did everything, and he's now sort of the caregiver for the history of motorsports in the Northeast. He has a museum up at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So he has a lot of great stories. He's been around the sport and met a lot of characters, and he shares them with us on our podcast. So it's going to be a great show, and hope you guys enjoy it. Have a great week. Oh, one more thing. We talk about it at the top of the podcast. Season 2, Lost Speedways, is happening. So you heard it right here. We're excited. That's where Matthew's been. Working, and he's finally back in the studio. So season 2 Lost Speedways will be happening. Keep your eye and your ears.
Yep, Peacock this summer.
We're happy to tell you. All right, have a good week.